Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Yusuf, and I'm here with my co-host Adam.
What's up, guys? Smash that subscribe button because Barcelona are awful right now.
Come on, Adam. I know this was a tough game. Very awful loss at the Camp Nou.
It's not just tough, man. Cadiz are on the verge of getting eliminated, right? And we had Real Madrid go down 2-0 against Sevilla and then come back and win 3-2. And we're seeing Benzema score against PSG, hat-trick, Chelsea, hat-trick, scoring against, like I said, Sevilla in the last minute. We're seeing a resilient team who's really trying to put up points and win big knockout ties. And, we're coming off of a tough week where we barely beat Levante, where we lose to Frankfurt at home with the whole debacle of the fans not showing up and us going down 3-0 at one point. And then, we come against Cadiz, a team that very easily could be relegated from La Liga this season. And they come to the Camp Nou and they win for their first time in their history at Camp Nou. And I'm a little bit frustrated. And I have so many different thoughts here, and I want to hear, your take. But I think the first thing that's become obvious to me is that without Pique, Dest for most of the month and Pedri now, we've been missing some big starters, and that's really what's causing us to kind of lose it in the last 3 weeks since the international break. And it's really depressing to see because we were on such a roll, beating Sevilla, Atletico, Valencia, Real Madrid, scoring 4 goals in a bunch of games in February and March that had us so jazzed up. But what's really making me the most upset is it feels like opposing teams have kind of figured out Xavi's tactics. And there were certainly some players in this game who didn't play well. Ferran Torres looked tired. Frankie de Jong looked tired. Memphis Depay didn't really seem to know what he was doing. But, I think teams have figured out if they play 4 at the back against Barca, we're going to score a lot of goals. But what teams have been doing lately, including Frankfurt, I think including Galatasaray, and definitely today in Cadiz, is they're playing a 5-4-1 against our counter. And or they're playing a 5-4-1 against us. They're going on the counter, and they have a shot to win. And it just feels like Xavi hasn't really adjusted to these teams that are playing a 5-man backline and figuring out how we can, push the ball forward and score. I hate when people, try and pit coaches of Barca against each other. We used to have Setien Valverde, Koeman Valverde. Now we have Xavi Koeman, where people are saying this looks like Koeman ball. But overall, the team is just missing that dynamism that we had seen really impress in February and March, where there were, dynamic passes, people making runs. Now everything just seems so slow, and it seems like we just are not carrying the ball through, and making incisive passes at all. And it all looks so boring and slow and predictable, and it's just not a good place for us to be right now.
No, I totally agree. We're relying, or at least Xavi's relying, on his tactics to take us to the wings and push the ball forward, really heavily relying on Dembele to make something happen. And we definitely struggle with moving the ball down the middle. So again, the predictability is definitely there. And to backtrack a little bit on the fact that our team looks tired, we talked about this in previous videos. We didn't have enough rotations throughout the last probably 10 games, right? All those games that you mentioned, 4-0 against Real Madrid, 4-0 against Osasuna. We played our top star players, Pedri, Pique, Araujo, maybe some Dembele, always Ferran Torres, always Aubameyang, right? And at this point, all of this is trickling down, and now we're seeing the adverse event of the whole thing, right? All these players are getting injured. All these other players that are not injured, they're tired.
Or they're coming in for the first time in months, right? Mingueza is coming in to start against Galatasaray in a game that would mean the Europa League semifinals. We've had Lenglet come in, right? We gave up, 4 penalties in 2 games, and then we give up just an atrocious goal today with Jordi Alba not able to clear the ball and them just getting an easy goal. And it's so upsetting because the ref was really bad in this game, right? That's one thing I think everyone who watched the game noticed is that he really didn't take out any yellow cards for Cadiz. I felt like he was giving yellow cards out to Barca a lot. And then in that second half, Cadiz really wasted time flopping everywhere, getting down for injuries. And it was so annoying to see the ref. But at the end of the day, we really, I feel like, have to kind of blame ourselves. And like you said, right, we haven't rotated enough. We started this month thinking about, after the international break, how we have one game every 4 days, and we're about to play, we played a game today, we play a game I think on Thursday, and then a game at the weekend, and so we have just a constant bombardment of games. And with Serginho Dest being hurt now, it really makes me worried about our chances to get top 4. I don't think we're gonna, choke it away this quick, but we have a game coming up against Betis not too long from now that will be very huge.
Sure.
And
on your birthday, May 8th.
yeah, on my birthday. And I think what's kind of interesting is, Xavi did try a few things today, right? He had Memphis Depay kind of play as what seemed like a false nine in this game. It really didn't work out. And then later in the game, he went to a 3 at the back system to try and get more attackers up front to go against that 5-man back line. And again, that didn't work out too well. But, like you're mentioning, it's not just that we need to rotate players because we have so many games, but like players like Ferran Torres have been playing every single game. He looks so tired. And like, of course, there is a lot of criticism, some of it, too harsh on him because he can't finish well, but he was, providing assists, he was providing goals in February and March. He really seemed like he was gaining confidence, and then now he just seems like he's kind of sputtering out there. I thought the only two players who really impressed today were Dembele and Serginho Dest. And you saw Dembele, he's the one guy out there who's really trying to create, but when his goal is kind of limited to just, staying on the wings and kind of pushing forward and crossing the ball in, I mean, Memphis Depay and Ferran Torres aren't going to be able to really do too much with the cross to score a goal. And so I thought we either needed Aubameyang up front or Luc de Jong for most of the game, and I'm just hoping Xavi can figure it out soon.
Sure. I mean, in terms of Dembele, right, he's been normally his strength this last season has been assisting. And if he has no one out in there in the front in the attacking to come in and either create space or receive the ball or header it or whatever, right, his goaling capabilities has not been very high in the list of his strengths this season. I think he scored 1 goal in La Liga. And so, if that's the case, we need people to receive the ball from Dembele or work with him. We need to find those players, or we need to put those players in. Like you said, if Ferran Torres and Depay are not doing well, why are we making subs at the 75th, 80th minute, hoping that Luc de Jong can do that final header to draw the game against an 18th team in the league? Like we struggled against Levante. We barely won that game. And that was the 19th team in the league, right? So coming out in these games and not being able to have a strategy to break down the Cadiz defense or at least adjust halfway through the game, it really talks about like where we are right now. And it's really tough because we were really hoping that we would have a strong placement in top 4. But right where you have 31 games, which is a game in hand against the other top 3 teams, and we're tied at 60 points, and then Real Madrid's just running away 15 points ahead. And now I feel like we're in that trough of gameplay where we're injured, we're tired. I don't know how we're going to rotate, even playing against Real Sociedad, Rayo Vallecano, Mallorca, and then we have Real Betis. Like, how are we going to make it through these runs of games and score points if we can't even beat Cadiz, if we can't come up with a system that can break down defense or open up our attack or come down the middle, right? It's really hard because talking about this Cadiz game, it's almost there was nothing to talk about. I think we had maybe like 1 or 2 shots on goal, very poor attempts. And other than that, it was we just held the ball. We moved the ball around. We had good possession, but that doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like kind of what we described with Koeman, right? Which is like possession for possession's sake, which is the thing that kind of drove us crazy when we were watching Koeman ball, right? When it was at its most boring phases. And you got to kind of balance the rightful criticism of players and of the coach with how things have gone in April, with the fact that this is our first league loss in I think 3 months, and we climbed in that time from 9th to 2nd. So we have to take the bad in the current position with also, an understanding of how far we've come and being happy, and that, Ansu Fati's return is coming around the corner. And you look at the team, and I think the biggest takeaway you have is just how much we need this summer, right? We need a top-level CB. Sure. We need a right back to help give rest to Jordi Alba so he can be fresh for big games. We need, probably another central defensive midfielder to give Busquets rest, another midfielder so that we don't always rely on a 19-year-old or 20-year-old Pedri every game. And then we need a striker, right? We need someone who's clinical, who can put the ball in the net, who can create something out of nothing. And, even with Messi or Luis Suarez or Antoine Griezmann, I feel like all 3 of those, even though Griezmann struggled a lot and Suarez had his woes in Champions League away games, all 3 of those players were much more likely and much more deadly than any of the players we have right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're in for a hectic season next next season if we don't make those accommodations. And the board has to know these things, right? Jordi Alba's playing 90 minutes every game. He's getting older. There's no way he can keep that up. We have injuries that we still, right? We talked about the athletic team and how keeping health up. But now I feel like the transition of conversation has to go to the fact that it's not even just that we're not able to keep our players healthy because of just proper exercise or nutrition or whatever, but it's the fact that we're just playing way too much. We need those players to be rested. We need to get fresh meat, I guess, into the team and kind of get a better start to next season because this whole season was rough to begin with. And you're right. We should zoom out and look at what we have achieved because it is wonderful. And I never thought at the beginning of the season when we were in 9th place that we would be here. And I'm very happy for that. I just don't want to see us slowly slip away like we did last season under Koeman and then, just feel really bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're in the Europa League next season, it would be really treacherous, right? Like Haaland probably going to Man City, Mbappe probably going to Real Madrid. But for us to get even, those are like the A-list players in the world. For us to get a B-list player to come in, right, like a Delict from Juventus at center back or some of these other players to come to us, no one's going to want to come if we're offering champions, Europa League football next season and a team like Atletico or a team like, I don't know, Man United or Chelsea or Arsenal or Tottenham, whoever makes top 4 in the Premier League. If they're offering Champions League football, it's not going to be, I want to come to Barca, right? And we felt so hot in February and March about the fact that, wow, Xavi's creating a new Barca that looks so attractive and that players will want to come to because they can see the promise. But if we have a depressing end to the season and we don't finish top 4, it's going to take away some of that luster that we've had. And that's what I'm worried about. So I think what we're going to really have to look for is, well, how does Xavi figure out how to combat the defense that seems to be so effective against us, right? Which is, again, 5 at the back, hit us on the counter because there's a good chance you can score a goal. And I'm curious to see what he does. I think, one of the glaring issues I see right now is that Jordi Alba has been kind of totally neutered on the offensive, positioning and play. And he is such a critical player for us when I think of like good Barca periods in the last 3 or 4 years. And so I'm hoping to see Jordi Alba get some more involvement here, even though he's playing so much. I'm hoping to see, maybe we don't always try Gavi as the starter. He hasn't been extremely effective in the last few weeks, and I feel like he's just a little bit too raw right now, and it's never good to rely on like a teenager, right? We already had to do it with Pedri. We've seen that when he gets hurt, it's cost us so much, and I'm just hoping that, maybe we can make some adjustments. We can try some rotations to try and keep players fresh and to also see what lineups will work, see what can, effectively break down these bad defenses. Because the thing is, and we mentioned this in our last video, we never seem to have a counterattack, which is like a part of play that Ferran Torres and Dembele, I think, are really good at with their dribbling skills and Dembele's pace. And so I would love to see us have some sort of emphasis on, okay, if they're going to counter us, that's going to leave them exposed. And if we can get the ball back quickly, we can hit them on the counter. So let's look out for that, and let's see what adjustments Xavi makes. And he doesn't have much time here, right? That's what's so worrisome. We have 2 more games this week that are going to be huge. I mean, if we come out of this with, not 2 wins, but 2 draws or a draw and a loss, it's really going to cut into our ability to finish top 4.
No, I totally, Real Betis is closing in on us. They're 3 points behind us. Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, both at 60 with us. Real Sociedad, which we play this Thursday, at 55 points. So, we're not in a safe place. So we do have to make changes. He really needs to go back to the drawing board and, come up with maybe a strategy for us to, like you said, coming back on the counter and moving the ball up, because it seems like we get really lazy on the ball. Even if we do have a breakaway, it's not very accurate in our passing. It's not fast enough. It doesn't break the defense. We can't get ahead of them most of the time. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a rough week and a rough month, rough end of the season. The only thing I'm really looking forward to here is that in May, as we mentioned before, we're going to be in Barcelona, so we'll be able to watch some of those games live. I really hope that Barca comes out and does a really good job, because it will be my first time in Barcelona watching a game at the Camp Nou. So, I want to hope for the best here, and there's not much else to talk about here. Adam, any last thoughts?
No. Thank you guys so much. Have a nice week. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.